stop the enemy runner.
Iron Banner recently made its way back into the weekly rotation after receiving a complete overhaul to the reward system, as well as changing the base game mode. Iron Banner, at least this time around, was no longer the Iron Banner Control game mode, but instead it was the returning fan favorite from Destiny 1, the game mode called Rift. Now, I recently broke down all of my thoughts on the new Rift experience, listing out the things I like about it, as well as a handful of criticisms about the experience that Bungie delivered us. And if you're interested in hearing those thoughts and criticisms, then please feel free to click the link to that video that I'll provide in both the description and the pinned comment on this video. But the intent of this video is to tackle two main questions. First, is the Hero's Burden SMG worth the grind in Iron Banner to obtain? And secondly, is the title Iron Lord worth the grind to obtain as well? We'll break these questions down and offer some insights into this weapon and the experience of claiming that Iron Lord title in a moment. But first, let me take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, who generously funded the time investment, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends just celebrated their 3rd anniversary, which is a pretty incredible milestone to hit. What's more incredible to me is the fact that after 3 years, this game is still absolutely banging out content and retaining a massive player base both on mobile and on PC. And the reason for that is because they literally never backed off the gas. They just kept that pedal to the floor and continued to develop new dungeons, new events, new champions. I'm going to share with you my top 3 reasons to play Raid based on all the stuff that I've done during those 3 years. And note, the champions, the loot that I have, they're all mine. Raid did not give me any of this stuff. I have it because I grinded dozens of hours of Raid. Just ask my wife. Reason number 1, I play Raid because I love the idea of building a team that speaks to me. I mean, you can play the meta, you can go for the champions that everyone is farming for, but I like to try to find creative ways of integrating interesting champions into my team and leveraging their unique strengths in battle. Reason number 2, the champion designs in this game are out of this world, and I'm regularly compelled to try to collect more and level them up just because aesthetically they look incredible. And finally, reason number 3, it's free to play. I mean, yeah, you can spend cash on summoning champions and other useful things whenever you want to, but you'll never be denied access to playing Raid just because you don't feel like dropping cash in that moment. And speaking of playing when you want, there's a lot happening in Raid this month. You might want to make sure that you log in and get involved. There are special events happening every day, including a brand new event for the summer solstice called the Path of Light, where you can explore 3 branching paths to get the rewards that you want most. There are also new champions inbound and new skins for Trunda Gilt Mallet. Additionally, there's a special Deliana Chase event where you can add Deliana, a brand new High Elf champion, to your roster just by logging in. It's that easy. Log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and July 20th, and you'll get this amazing support champion to help push your team to new heights. It's a great time to get started with Raid. Click my links in the description to get started, or scan my QR code, and you'll get some interesting, unique bonuses worth $30, including a free epic champion Tayroll, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon a great champion right off the rip. Just click on your inbox here to claim those rewards as long as you're a new player and you use these links within the next 30 days. New players can also use promo code MyDeliana to get 50 experience brews to go ahead and max out your Deliana up to level 50 and get some extra silver as well. Thanks again, Raid Shadow Legends, for sponsoring the video today. Let's get back to some Destiny. Alright, so this is the Hero's Burden SMG that you'll be seeing in the background of the video today. This SMG, it's sort of new, sort of not. It was a part of the Iron Banner grind way back in Destiny 1, or Destiny 2 Year 1, and at this point, it's kind of just as nostalgic as many of the Destiny 1 returning weapons and exotics and maps, since this weapon is basically 5 years old. Well, it's over 5 years old at this point. It's kind of strange to think about that, isn't it? I mean, some of the reissued weapons that we get are half a decade old. Destiny 2, remember, it launched in 2017. So while this is technically a reissued weapon from launch, it may as well be brand new, considering all the things that have changed in the sandbox since then, including the existence of special weapons. It was also given a brand new perk pool. A small perk pool, actually, meaning that it's much easier to get your desired roll on this weapon than it is most other weapons once you've unlocked the ability to focus iron engrams into this SMG. And that brings me to the first major point of consideration when asking the question, is this SMG worth the grind to obtain it? We found out the hard way that you cannot get this SMG to drop anywhere at all whatsoever until you have leveled up your Iron Banner reputation all the way to level 16 Legend. At that point, you will have to claim the weapon from Lord Saladin, or rather Brachus Forge, in the tower. Only then will the weapon finally make its way into the standard loot pool for Iron Banner drops. Once you've reached Legend and claimed the weapon, you will then be able to have the weapon drop at the end of Iron Banner matches randomly, from Iron Engrams randomly, or from focusing Iron Engrams into specifically Hero's Burden drops. And this is my recommendation. Save all of your Iron Engrams as you are leveling. And then, at the end of that grind to Legend, after you claim your first Hero's Burden, then you should focus those Engrams into the SMG and see what random rolls you get until you are satisfied. So whether or not the weapon is worth the grind for you personally, it firstly depends on how much you enjoy Iron Banner Rift. You'll have to go into this grind knowing full well that you won't be able to get that SMG until you've played a lot of Rift on the same 3 maps over and over and over. So buckle up. It's going to be a little monotonous, but try to enjoy the journey. The second thing to consider when answering the question of whether or not the Hero's Burden is worth the grind is how good the SMG actually is, especially compared to other SMGs in the same slot and of the same family. The Hero's Burden is an adaptive frame SMG in the energy slot. It has a base range of 44, 40 stability, 59 handling, 53 reload speed, 51 aim assist, an airborne effectiveness value of 12, and a recoil direction of 93, which is very solid at base. The mag size is 33. Now, the Hero's Burden is a 900 RPM SMG, but it is not the same family as the Multi-Mach and the Submission. Those are lightweight frames, and the Hero's Burden is adaptive. The Burden has a very slightly longer optimal TTK at 0.73 seconds, as opposed to Multi-Mach's 0.67. That's a difference of 0.5 seconds, barely noticeable, if at all. I'm sorry, did I say this? I meant 0.05 seconds, right? So, anyways, but it's there. It's not, maybe not noticeable, but it is there. So what's the trade-off then, right? Lightweight frames and adaptive frames follow a different general rule set. Lightweights, like the Multi-Mach, generally have high aim assist and handling, but at the cost of effective range and stability. Adaptive frames generally have high stability and range, but are more difficult to control in the recoil department. That's why the God roll on the Multi-Mach is about compensating for the range weakness by leaning into that Iron Reach perk and other perks that boost the range out. But with the adaptive frame, like Hero's Burden, you're better off trying to reel in the recoil. That's why I went with Zen Moment, but then decided also in the other slot to lean into the Suros Synergy Origin perk and also offset the impact differences between adaptives and lightweights at the same time by taking advantage of Kill Clip in the second column. So Kill Clip works great in conjunction with Suros Synergy, and it bumps the TTK down under 0.6 seconds. So just a refresher on Zen Moment, this perk reduces the maximum recoil angle and the weapon shake incrementally as you continue to dish out damage with the gun. It also gives a free +5 boost to stability at all times. This basically works in direct contradiction to the built-in drawback of using an adaptive frame SMG. That's why the role I'm using in the gameplay is the role that I farmed engrams for. It's Zen Moment and Kill Clip, with a flared Magwell mag perk to make this thing reload really fast without the need for an SMG reload mod on my gauntlets. But beyond Zen Moment and Kill Clip, let me quickly list out the other perk options on the Hero's Burden. In the first column, you have Zen Moment, Fragile Focus, a new perk that gives you +20 range boost on the weapon until you take damage. Very interesting. It has Air Assault, which grants up to +60 airborne effectiveness as you take damage, sort of like Eye of the Storm does to handling and accuracy. You have Tunnel Vision, an exceptional reload perk. Feeding Frenzy, which is trash in PvP, but solid in PvE. and Well-Rounded, a new perk that gives you boosts to stability, handling, and range after you throw a grenade or do damage with a charged melee. In this first column, I recommend Zen Moment first and foremost, but also I could get behind Fragile Focus and Tunnel Vision as well. In the second column, you have Kill Clip, Iron Reach, Vorpal Weapon, Iron Grip, Eye of the Storm, and Repulsor Brace, which is absolutely terrible in PvP in my opinion, but in PvE it's a fun perk for ad clearing and getting those overshields. I recommend Kill Clip in this column, but I could also get behind Iron Grip or Eye of the Storm as well. So bearing all of that information in mind about this gun, I absolutely think that this SMG is exceptional. There are some really solid perks in the pool. It kills faster than a Shayura's Wrath, even though Shayura has more range. But at deeper ranges, I'm most likely to be using my other weapon, right? So it has solid stability and range and can be made into a laser beam of death with Zen Moment and Kill Clip, that combo. I've got hundreds of kills on mine so far, including a really nice 63 kill game that I had with this thing equipped. I'm looking forward to continuing to use it. For me personally, when I asked the question, was it worth the grind? The answer is unequivocally yes. If you want to get this thing faster, then keep your best rolls of Iron Banner armor that drop. Equip as many pieces as you can, and make sure that you toss on an Iron Banner emblem as well. All of these things will boost your reputation gains on both wins and losses. It will get you to this SMG faster. And whether or not it'll be worth the grind for you personally is entirely up to you and what your tastes are. But my opinion is that this SMG is really good for dueling in PvP and kill chaining especially. So it was worth my time that I spent in Iron Banner Rift. And I did almost the entire thing in freelance. So in fact, I went on to do 2 full resets of my Iron Banner reputation, acquiring the Iron Lord title, having played only about 6 matches with a friend of mine, and then all the rest was solo. While I have some gripes with the game mode, I consider my time to have been well spent, and I tried to enjoy it. But can I recommend others do the same? Can I say that the grind for the title was worth the 2 resets in a single week of grinding? Honestly, probably not. Iron Banner Rift has some issues. The lobby balancing in freelance was a nightmare. The map rotation is painfully repetitious, despite there being plenty of Destiny 2 maps that could do well with Rift. Bungie just seems really intent on forcing Destiny 1 maps down our throat. The game mode is buggy as all heck, with infinite resetting loops where you just go back to that black screen and get sent back to the base over and over and over and over and over again until the match eventually times out. Or there's another bug where if someone dies while picking up the spark, then the spark has a chance to just randomly disappear entirely and never respawn. And this has happened to me lots of times, and sometimes it's very early in the match, and you or the other team will not have another chance to score a point. So the match is literally decided right then and there. Whoever's winning at the point that that spark just vanishes, that's who's going to win the match. It's mega frustrating, and then it just makes it so that the match is doomed to go all the way to time, so it just drags out. When it comes to the Iron Lord title, I honestly just recommend that you get your 1 reset in for now, you take your loot, and you go. Wait for Bungie to iron out some kinks before the next Iron Banner Rift week. It'll go much more smoothly next time around, I think. I hope. But ultimately, the choice is yours. If you have the time and the willpower to do so, then feel free to see it all the way through and grab your title. It's a grind and a half, so be prepared to deal with the bugs and the repetitious nature of the playlist for now. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of this weapon and the grind to Iron Lord. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching the video. Please feel free to drop a like on the video only if you enjoyed it. Rate it, share it, subscribe to my channel for additional Destiny 2 content. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.